Is front end separation something that's concerning to you? Do you enjoy towing smoothly down a bumpy road? Do you want less wear and tear on your tow vehicle and your trailer? If you answered yes to any of those questions, this video may be for you. Hey everybody, I'm Brad. Today I'm going to be reviewing the AirSafe Hitch. AirSafe is a airbag technology hitch, and I received one a few weeks back, and I've been testing it out. And this video is going to show all of my findings and my thoughts on this particular hitch. Join me. Now, before we get started, I have a 27-foot front bed twin Airstream, and it has the front storage locker. And that particular model with the front storage locker is one that is seemingly prone to front end separation. I made a whole video on front end separation and why I think it's a problem and what I think the root causes are often, but just know that I don't have a weight distribution hitch. I don't have one for a reason, but mainly because of the truck trailer combo that I have. It's not that I don't believe in them. I had a weight distribution hitch on my previous Airstream. I had a weight distribution hitch and anti-sway things on previous trailers that I've owned. But for this particular trailer and my truck combo, I have towed on a B&W hitch, adjustable 3 different balls, and I really enjoyed it. I towed on a AirSafe hitch, which is just a ball, and I really enjoy it. And now I'm testing out the AirSafe hitch. All right, let's get this thing unpacked, and then I'll be back to share some additional thoughts. Hey friends, I've got a package in the mail yesterday. I got an email from the folks at AirSafe to test out their hitch and make a video about it, so I'm doing this video. In full disclosure, I did not pay for this, but I am very grateful for them for sending it out. This is something that I have talked about for a long time. It's something that I've been interested in for a long time. Currently using a AirSafe hitch because I like the scale in there, and it's been great. I love the AirSafe hitch. I love the AirSafe company and all the folks associated with them, but I am going to test out this AirSafe hitch. I'm not towing anywhere for a couple days, but next time I tow, I will make a video about this and how it tows and kind of hopefully give you some video of it actually working. But for now, I'm going to unbox it and put it on the truck and see what it looks like. So join me. So here's the ball mounting plate, which mounts on here. Here it is. Now this is the Class VII hitch. It can handle up to 25,000 pounds gross trailer weight, and it can handle up to a 2,500 pound tongue weight. So that's far more than anything I'm ever going to have in that trailer. But it's a good looking hitch. It has the shock absorbers here and the airbag down here. So here's your receiver side, and here's where this would reside. So I'm going to have to figure that piece out because the way the hitch rides is not adjustable kind of thing. So I'll have to figure that out and make sure I can get the correct hitch height. So that's something also I have to figure out. So the hitch body has 8 tapped holes, pre-tapped holes to drill into. So you have adjustable height for your here. And I assume this can be turned upside down or right side up, but we'll see. So it says slide the hitch's receiver shank into the towing vehicle's receiver tube. If loose, insert shims until it fits tight. Inflate to a minimum of 20 psi. Line vehicle with the trailer and determine the position of the ball mount plate. After this is done, install the ball mount plate in a position and torque it to at least 55 foot-pounds. These things do not exceed 75 when tightening the bolts. Now attach and secure trailer to the hitch. Inflate or deflate the hitch until you have about 1 to 1.5 inch space between the top bumper and stops. If the trailer is not level with the vehicle, adjust the ball mounting height. This next page goes into weight distribution mounting and ball mounting, and then your recommended PSI here based on your tongue weight, and a 2-year warranty. So that's that. Let's put it on the truck and see what we got. All right, so I'm just going to measure this height real quick to see what we got here. So the top of my ball is right at 26 inches as it sits now, and I know that that fits all of my things. So I've already taken the lock out here, and I'm going to pull out the AirSafe hitch. Now, I've been very, very happy with this hitch. I love that it has a scale built into it. It's super lightweight, looks good, shiny, and matches the trailer. So that's another favorite thing. All right, you can already tell that this is a much larger system. Lock that in place real quick. So my hitch height It's going to need to be right close to the top of this thing. And I also have airbags on the truck, if you don't know that already. So I'm going to see if I can find my ball hitch and put one on. So here I'm just checking the plate to see which way I need to mount it, up or down. And I did reach out to them, and they got right back to me and said it could be mounted either way. So I put the bolts in. Then I head out to the store to pick up a ball because my ball was the wrong size shank to go through the hole in there, because this shank is a 1.25 inch requirement. So I got everything torqued down, got the ball on and tightened down. I had to get a pipe wrench out to do this because I didn't have one that big, but got it all installed and set up. All right, I've got the hitch installed and the ball installed, got everything torqued down, and I put 20 psi of pressure in it, so I'm going to back it up to the trailer and hook it up and see what it looks like and make sure it's level so I can make any adjustments now before I go driving in a couple days. Getting the truck backed in here, lowered it down on the ball just to take the weight off of it. And then I turned on my airbags to the truck and pumped it up too. So the chart says 42 psi for 1,000-pound hitch weight. So I'm going to do more than that. So what I'm looking for, it says, is 1 inch to 1.5 inches right here between these and the top of the thing there. So it's currently a little more than 1.5 inches, so I'm going to add a little bit more psi in here. So there's right at 1 inch. Actually, I'm going to let out just a little bit and try to get right at 1.25 inches. All right, so 51 psi. I'm going to just round it to 50. So 50 psi in the airbag with my current hitch weight. Now I'm going to check and see if everything's level. The way I measure this is I measure from this seam. So the seam is behind this bar here, right at the top of your chrome trim here to the ground. That's right in that 25 inches. Go back here at the back. Same thing. So the back, a little taller than the front, maybe 1/4 inch or so. But it's pretty close. And that's how I measure trailer. As long as it's in a 1/2 inch or so front to back. Sometimes you can't get that, but I can go up on the airbag in my truck a little bit. I can go up on the airbag of the hitch a little bit to get it more balanced as best I could. But that's the easiest way to tell. Real quick on the Class 7 hitch. So, yes, it's Class 7, and that's very robust for my truck trailer combo. Most Airstreamers, and I could be a Class 5 hitch from AirSafe, no problem. The shock absorbers just give you a little extra support when you go over these rough bridge joists or railroad tracks and things like that. But the Class 6 now, that's a different story. I can't use the Class 6 because it only comes in a 2-inch receiver hitch, and I have a 2.5 inch. But the Class 6 and Class 7 are very similar, but Class 7 can be a 2.5 or 3-inch shank, whereas the Class 6 cannot. So that's the reason I don't have a Class 6. But the Class 5 would work for most Airstreamers out there. And when you get into the 30 feet trailers, the bigger ones, I think the Class 7 is probably the best thing for you. But 27 and 28 feet, you can choose kind of which one works. 25 and below, I think a Class 5 would probably be perfectly fine, unless you're just carrying really heavy things in the back of your truck or on your trailer. Or if you're doing these big mods, like you're going to Ronnie or Vinny's and you're getting the generator and the lithium battery bank installed and all that stuff, depending on where you put it in the trailer, you're going to have a heavier tongue weight. So that's a few items you're going to have to consider depending on what you're going to do for your trailer. All right, let's go check it out for real. Now I'm going to test it out in the real world scenario. So we'll see how it tows and see how it feels according to the science. All right, so I drove about 100 miles until we got to our parking lot boondocking destination for that night. And then I went out and swapped out and put back on my AirSafe hitch, as you can see here in the video. Dropped it down on, got everything sorted out, and then hooked it up and went for a test drive. So the test drive that I have about to show you here is, I think it was like 1.5 miles down, a U-turn and 1.5 miles back. There was a bridge on both sides of the road. So I think it was a pretty good thing. So I set up a accelerometer or velocimeter, whatever you want to call it. It's from this company here. No affiliation with them, but the device is really small. Bluetooth to the phone. And here is what it looks like here. So I just put this down on the A-frame and then hooked it to my phone. And here we go, taking off on a trek. So the top orange line you see there is what I think is most important. The blue and yellow one at the bottom are the side-to-side kind of movements. I may fast forward through some of this just to get to the big bumps where you can see the big differences, but smooth ride here so far. I've got 30 psi in the airbags of my truck, which is normally what I travel with, and we are on the road here checking it out. So you can see my screen there on the truck where I've got the camera pointed down at the hitch, so you can see what's going on there. And then just heading down the road, and I was watching the data come across the screen there. So up to 1.4, down to negative, or down to a 0.5. I'm going to hit a bump in a minute that throws this thing way out of whack. So this real-time data going across the screen there is going to get way out of whack for a minute. And I will fast forward through that because it's really hard to tell. And it made me mad because I went across the bridge while that was happening. It was hard to see the minute data here. So getting passed by a truck. And I get asked all the time, since this is happening, do I feel sway? No, I don't. Yes, I do. But if I were sitting in the passenger seat, I'd never notice. But in the driver's seat, you do feel a little bit of push, but nothing significant. So here was that random spike, and I don't know what it came from. Here's the bridge joist that I really wanted to see. You can see the blue and yellow at the bottom kind of mess up with that, but the orange is hard to tell what it really spiked up to. So there, that is back. Slowing down, waiting on some traffic here for a second. On the road again, and just going to wait so you can see where that bridge hits. But looking at the hitch itself, you see some vibration on the right hand side of the screen, like where the truck is or the hitch is. It looks like it's vibrating a lot. That's really the camera, and this is a GoPro camera, so it stabilizes things in the very middle, but the edges of it are kind of weird, and I had it on super view so I could get it all in there. So big bump, you see that big spike goes up to 1.5. Big spike again, coming off the bridge, or big bump again. If you're wondering what that silver plate is right there on the side of the A-frame, I got the checkered sticker on top of it. That's just the easiest way I could attach it. So there's VHB tape on the inside of that thing, and it's stuck to the side of the A-frame there, and on top of it's the checkerboard sticker. That's what my camera uses to do Pro Backup Assist and Pro Hitching Assist. Trying to stick the sticker directly on the A-frame didn't work very well. It kept wanting to peel off, and there was not a smooth spot to put it, so I just put it on that little 90-degree bend in the aluminum piece there. If you're also wondering why I have two cables running to the truck, one is for the camera and the tire pressure monitoring system, and the other is for the standard 7-way plug. So you can see here it's 1.3 to 0.5. That's kind of the variations in the vibrations going up and down. It was a fairly decently smooth road until I hit a few bumps there, but nothing drastic. And I'm going to say this now before we get to the next part, but standard going down the road, the measurements were very similar to each other. It was only when you hit the big bumps where you noticed the big differences. And I'll talk about that when we get to that one in a second. Alright, I'm about to pull back in here, and I'm going to swap out the hitch, and then we'll go for a ride with the other hitch on and the AirSafe, and you can see the differences in how it pulls. Disconnecting and removing the AirSafe Hitch, and I got to take off the anti-rattle U-bolt there. You see it going back on. I'll have a link down below if anybody's interested in getting one of those. Hooking back up, and here we go. Alright, AirSafe Hitch is on. Pulling out of the parking lot. The first part you see on the orange over there to the far left, that was me driving through the parking lot a little bit. But on the road here, again, the bottom right corner of the screen, you'll see the vibrations there. That's the camera vibrating. That's not the truck vibrating. It centers everything in the center of the screen. That's just the way the GoPro does with that wide angle view. But you can see pretty similar data, 1.3 to 0.5. Now, towards the end of this, going through the parking lot, you can really see that AirSafe Hitch making some big softening of the jostling that it's going to take. Again, same with the sway in this 18-wheeler. It's not something that I notice or feel. Not something that makes me uncomfortable, if you will. I do feel it just a little bit, but again, only in the driver's seat. All right, there was some big bumps. And those big bumps were not near as rough as the big bumps with the standard hitch on. And if you didn't see what the hitch did, it bounced around. But I'll get a better view on the way back, because we can't compare this bridge to the other bridge because of the way the screen looked at the time. Here comes the bridge. Bump. Bump. You can see that hitch floating. So on the bridge joist, it only got up to 1.4 and down to 0.5. So the spike was not near as big as the spike when I didn't have this hitch on. It is really neat. You'll see when I pull in the parking lot here and I zoom in on this hitch here, and you can see how much that thing actually travels going up and down. So my feedback based on what I've seen here is just standard going down the road, the vibrations are not that different. And again, I think that's because of that. It's a very robust hitch for this particular trailer. But when you hit those large bumps, it softens it out significantly. So I do like it for that feature. Smoothing out those bumps there. And I'm coming up on the turn in here. All right, I want you to watch the hitch coming in here and how much this thing actually travels up and down when we hit these potholes and bumps in this parking lot. Pretty crazy how much that thing actually does travel on this kind of roughness. So I have an accelerometer or velocimeter, or whatever you want to call it. It's a little device. It's a Bluetooth thing. It measures pitch, roll, yaw, and then vibrations. So I put it up on top of the propane tanks. Now, I tried to put it inside the rig, meaning inside this front compartment, because that's really where I want it to be settled. And that's where I think the vibrations for front end separation happen and can be problematic. But I couldn't pick up the Bluetooth after I shut the door and sitting in the truck. So I put it on top of the propane tanks, and they are the most unstable thing on the front. So the vibrations are probably more on there than they would be sitting inside that compartment, but it still worked out. Now, I haven't looked at the data yet. I don't know for sure if it was better or not. I can tell you just from watching the screen going over to the bridge a couple of times, the spike on it was much less on the AirSafe hitch than it was with the normal hitch. I drove with the hitch today, so I drove maybe 100 miles with the AirSafe hitch today. Felt fine. I'm really glad I did. I tried to take out all of the variables that I could. So I haven't in the past driven with if you've ever tried to shake your hitch inside the receiver there's a little bit of play in there, but I bought the little U-bolt that goes over the top with the plate on the bottom, and I put that on. I did it on both of them. I didn't want that vibration to be an extra added vibration, so I tried to take out as many variables as I could. I drove the same stretch of road down and back, maybe a mile and a half down, a mile and a half back, downhill, uphill, across a bridge, U-turn, and came back. And then I changed it out and did the exact same route, exact same speed, or as close as I could get to that exact same speed. And it's Route 93 through northern Arizona, so it's this part of it was pretty smooth. The rest of the road today was pretty rough. I had the same air pressure in my truck airbags. I think I was at 25 today, maybe 30, but whatever it was set to, I didn't change that. Same hitch height, same stuff inside the trailer, no changes there. If you're not familiar with Rick and Lisa from the Wright Life on YouTube, Rick has the AirSafe Hitch. He bought it a year ago after he had his trailer repaired from some front end separation. And he bought the hitch and he made an initial impression video. This past year while we were at the Airstream International Rally, he got in touch with Alan from AirSafe, and he went through and did a whole Q&A question period with him. And then at the 1 year mark, he's had the hitch for a year. He did a follow-up video, and he includes all the Q&A he did with Alan from AirSafe. And it's a really fantastic video and a really good follow-up to his 1 year mark of using that hitch. So I just watched it the other day. It just came out this past week. So very good, very informative video. So if you want to see his impressions of this hitch after having used it for a year, I highly encourage you to go watch it. I think it's a wonderful insight to the hitch. Now, driving by the seat of my pants, I can't tell. Now, I don't notice any additional sway. I can still feel the bumps as the roads around here have been pretty rough where we drove today specifically. But I hope the science shows that it does reduce the vibrations, and I trust that it does. But from a feel perspective, it's not something it's immediately noticeable. I can change the air pressure on the truck, which is something I've talked about a number of times. And so when the road is bumpy like this or just constant, I lower the air pressure so it's a little bit smoother ride. And if it's a pretty steady road and I need to go up to level the truck some, I go up a little higher air pressure, but we're talking 5 to 10 pounds here, no drastic changes. So all in all, I'm happy with it so far. It is large, it is expensive, and it is heavy. And those are not uncommon feedback items to the company, and that's what I talked to Alan about. And I asked Alan specifically, because if I didn't say this already, Alan reached out to me some months ago and said, hey, I would like you to test out the hitch. Are you interested? I said, sure, send it to me. So they got me one in the mail and forwarded it out to me. I'm thoroughly impressed with him and the customer service that I've had with the company. I reached back to them for a couple of questions on, hooking this up, and should the bracket be up top or hanging down below? Does it matter? It does not come with a ball hitch, so that's something you have to procure yourself. You can use this with a Blue Ox. You can use it with a equalizer. You can use it with a myriad of other type weight distribution hitches if that's something you choose to do. I just don't have a weight distribution hitch and don't plan on using one. And I've talked ad nauseum about weight distribution hitches in the past, so you can go back and check out videos on that and see my thoughts. From a front end separation aspect, I assume that this hitch will make it better for that. I don't know the answer to that test. I have lost a rivet on both corners up front. The outside of that storage locker, the both bottom corners, I have lost a rivet and replaced them. But the trailer now has 27 something thousand miles on it. So it's got quite a few miles on the trailer itself, and it's held up pretty well so far. So, all right, I'm going to tow some more with the hitch tomorrow. And then in the coming days, we're headed from Arizona up to Salt Lake City. So I'll give you some more feedback on it as I drive with it a little bit more. But the setup is easy, but getting it in and out of your hole there is pretty difficult. And I know everybody's talked about how heavy this thing is, because it's robust. I think it's about 100 pounds just the hitch itself, and it's big square thing. So if you are if you're not physically able to get it in and out, it can be problematic. And then when you're not hooked, when your trailer is not hooked to your truck, it's a pretty large device back there. But all in all, I like it, and I really like this feature right here. An unintended benefit, or an unknown benefit, of this hitch is this. Check it out. I can open the tailgate while it's still hooked to the trailer. It's almost worth the cost of the thing just for that. I have now towed about 800 miles, maybe 900 miles with the hitch installed. So I did the initial 100. I did my little road test, and then we drove the rest of the way, Bullhead City, Las Vegas, up through St. George, and then to Salt Lake City. So I've driven mostly highway, a lot of highway, some 2-lane roads, some back roads. Blair and I stayed at Mooch Dock at a driveway one night. We went off-road to a BLM land one night. We stayed in an RV park one night, and stopping for gas and doing the different things and going in and out of parking lots. So we took our time getting here, and I got to experience that hitch going across the spectrum of a number of different ways. So after I say my seat of the pants feel, or my seat of the pants initial review when I did the vibration test, I couldn't really tell the difference. And some of that's due to the truck, and the truck's very comfortable and rides very good and tows very good. But I will tell you that the whole rest of the trip used the AirSafe Hitch the whole rest of the way, and I really felt comfortable. All the big bridge joists we hit and the bumps and things like that seemed to be smoother. I didn't measure anymore, but I will take this back out next time I go somewhere. We've got a trip from Salt Lake out to Sacramento in a few weeks, and then we got another trip out to Colorado for a rally in a few weeks. So I'm going to use it and test it out during those times. And I'm going to play with the air pressure just a little bit to see if that makes a difference too. But I will test the vibrations again and try to compare it to my standard towing on the ball hitch. But I really do like it. And I did not purchase it before because it's a cost that I didn't really want to pay for. It's a very large thing. I was very happy with towing on the ball. But now that I have it, it's something that I'm definitely going to continue to use. I think it's a good thing from a front end separations perspective. I think it's a great thing for wear and tear in your vehicle. There's a number of things on there that they talk about that, this hitch can do on their website, and Rick Wright covers all of those aspects in his review video of it too, and I really appreciate him doing that. So I'm not going to cover those things here. The company also offers a 10% military, both active and retired, or active and veteran discount. So that's a really cool thing. I appreciate that. It's very comforting for as much as I tow. So, somebody who's a weekender and we're going to take the trailer out on occasion, maybe it's worth or not worth the cost. I don't know. If you plan on keeping your trailer for a long time, maybe it's worth the cost. But if you're someone who tows as many miles as we do per year, I think investing in something like this that helps reduce the vibrations and protects things in your rig, I think it's a win-win in all regards. And I always go back to depending on what you're doing to your trailer, meaning you're putting generators on and batteries and doing all these upgrades that are heavy, I really think it's a good thing to have. I've been very happy with the customer service from the teams there. As I've written back and forth a number of times and asked questions about this, that, and the other, I've been very, very happy with that. And I'm very grateful for their trust in me to do this review with. And also, I asked specifically, is there anything you want me to mention or want me to discuss about this hitch or about you as a company? And they said, no, we want you to give your honest feedback without our input. Just here's the product, test it out and see how you really feel about it. So that's what I did. And I like it. I do like it very much. So Alan, thank you, the whole team at AirSafe, for making a cool product. Thank you. And I'm anxious to get on the road again and test it out some more. So thank you all very much for making me a part of your day. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your adventure and for tuning in to whatever I have to say. I love you all. Can't wait to see you on the road. Happy adventures, everybody. Bye.